Hello Avengers, it's me, Svenny McG. Recently a friend of mine reached out and said, hey, my Super Nintendo, it's not working. Can you please look into it and find out why? Going into it, I had no other prior details about why it wasn't working or anything, so I went through a troubleshooting process. So let's go through that together, see if I can diagnose what's wrong and how to fix it.
Alright, my friend DP asked me to look over his Super Nintendo, said it wasn't working. At first glance, you can see it's in pretty good shape. It's not even terribly discolored outside of the controller ports there. You can see a little bit of crud on there from years, but looking inside the cartridge slot, it actually looks pretty clean. So at first glance, I don't see anything that would prevent this from running. Now, his composite cables, on the other hand, are a little bit shaky looking. He said that it looks like the dog got to them. However, I plugged them in and we'll give them a try. Adding the power source, I now check it to see, and sure enough, the LED does light, so that's a good start. Now looking at the screen, I do see these black and white bars, so I'm starting to get curious as to what's going on here. Always in science here, we want to check all our variables, so I am going to plug in the RF, and I'm going to see what type of video output we get with that, just in case. Of course, it is worth noting that I don't have a cartridge in yet, but normally we should just get kind of a blank screen, not any other sort of output. So now switching the TV here to channel 3, again, I'm going to see these black and white bars even coming through on the RF. Alright, let's go ahead and insert a game. Here I've got Rock and Roll Racing, one of the greatest games on the Super Nintendo. And let's power it up and see, and still black and white bars here. Alright, let's change it back to the video input and try those composite cables again. And again, same thing, those mysterious black and white bars. Let's try a different game. No dice. Now, without having to go into the console, the nice thing is you can go in and clean the cartridge port just by holding the flap down. As YouTuber Adam Corlett calls it, I'm going to use the credit card technique, where I'm going to use a cloth and use a credit card support, and I'm just going to go through that cartridge port, just trying to clean the pins a bit. You could use a solution on there like Windex or something if you'd like. However, I'm just doing a dry run here just to see if I see any crud on that cloth. Pulling it out, I don't. So I would believe that the cartridge port is actually fairly clean and that this is not the source of my problems. Okay, so isolating one variable, let's take away those dog-chewed composite cables and try a fresh set here. So we're going to go ahead and fire up the system here with these new cablings, and still the same result. So without further going into the console, taking it apart, having a look, the one variable I haven't yet tried is changing the power supply unit, the AC adapter. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the one and install this new one and see, because certainly we are getting an output to the television. Even though that LED does light up on the front, I'm not wholly convinced that video output is our only issue here. So I'm going to go ahead here, I'm plugging in that new AC adapter, and we're going to go ahead and try to fire up the console here. And again, I'm still using that other composite output. So firing the console up, I see that the screen changed to black, but not the black and white stripes as before. So let's go ahead and try that again. Alright, let's try installing a cartridge here. This is Capcom's The Magical Quest starring Mickey Mouse. And sure enough, it's alive! And by the way, if you've never played this game, fantastic platforming game from Capcom. Much like the Mega Man series game, you go and acquire different powers throughout the game. Definitely a must play. As is Rock and Roll Racing, of course. And I'm just trying out the cartridge here as well, just to make sure we don't have a fluke. Super Mario Kart running flawlessly here. Again, no issues. But I also thought I'd take the time to test his controllers and make sure they were going to run without any concerns. So wanting to make sure that it is just the power, I'm going to go ahead and use these chewed up composite cables again, plugging the cartridges back in and testing the system. And yes, despite their shaky outward appearance, no issues with the composite cables here. And with that being said, I wanted to go ahead and test the RF again, so I plugged it back in, set the TV to channel 3, and look at no issues. So with his controller working, his composite cable working, the RF cable working, I thought once again to try the power, and again, that AC adapter is toast.
So there you have it, my friends. Sometimes the best answer is the simplest one. Now, if you don't have other cables on hand, perhaps you can swap with a friend and try it out. But as you saw, today's fix doesn't require going into the console, opening it up, or anything technical beyond your capabilities. I hope you found today's video helpful, and if you did, please consider liking and subscribing, as it always helps grow my channel. Until I see you guys again soon, please take care. Be good to each other. Bye now.